Continuing to work with our pick tool in this lesson, we're going to move on now to selecting an object and then rotating that object as well as skewing it. A couple of things you can do with just a few clicks of your mouse. We're still working with our green onion file here. If you've skipped to this lesson and you've got the exercise files and you'd like to follow along and get all caught up, go to the lesson 4 folder and open up green onion file 3.cdr. You'll have exactly what I have here on my screen. Now, just to experiment a little bit before we work with our daily specials here, let's add a new page in front of the current page. So I'm going to go down here to the bottom left corner, click the plus sign left of where it says 1 of 3. That adds a new blank page ready for me to work. All right, let's just draw a simple object. I'm going to go to this button here, which is currently showing my spiral tool, but it's really the polygon tool that I'm after. I'm going to click on the polygon tool. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to hold down Control to keep it proportional. Let go of my mouse first, and now I've got my polygon. Now I'm going to go to my shape tool. This is all review, and go to one of the nodes up here and click and drag that in. You can see I'm kind of drawing a star here. If I hold down my Control key, I'll constrain it, let go of the mouse button first, and there's my star. I think it should be filled with yellow, so I'm going to click on yellow over here, and I'm going to right click up here on black, which creates a black border around the outside. Back to my pick tool now, and I'll deselect that object to see what it looks like. This is the perfect object for us to work with for rotating and skewing. So I'm going to click on the object. Now we've seen this before. We've got our handles around the outside. We use them for sizing. And of course I can move this just by clicking and dragging from anywhere inside the actual object that I've drawn. But when I click a second time, look what happens. Those handles have now changed in the corners to rotation handles. And at the midpoints, at the top, bottom, left, and right, I've got skewing handles. So let's start with rotating. As I click and drag to rotate, you can see an outline of what the end result will be when I let go. And this is rotating around the center of the star. You can see that circle in the middle. I'm going to rotate right to about there and let go. And if you're wondering what that angle is, look up here at your property bar, 90.9 degrees for me. You'll have a different value there depending on where you let go. So if it has to be exactly 45 degrees, just click and drag up here, type in 45, hit enter, and you can see it's rotated around to 45 degrees exactly. Now, like I said, that's around the center. We can move this point if we need to. I'm going to move the center point down to the bottom left point here of my star. And now when I start rotating by clicking and dragging, you can see it's going around that rotation point. So that's going to show up with different values at the top, but the same degrees. Okay, so let's try 90 degrees. And enter. There we go. I'm going to move my point back into the center. Tells me when I hit the center, I'll let go, and I'm ready to rotate. Beautiful. So that's rotating. What about skewing? Skewing is going to give a little bit of perspective to your object. Let's start at the top. When I move up to this handle at the top center, you can see my pointer changes into a double arrow pointing in two directions here, half arrows. And I can click and drag to skew or stretch it. It's almost like I'm giving it perspective. I can do that on the sides as well if I wanted to. And at the bottom, same thing, left side, until I get exactly what I'm looking for. And then I'm going to click again to move this into the center of my page, having rotated and skewed that object. Once we talk about adding shadows later on, you can see the real effect of skewing and adding perspective to an object. Let's go down to where it says page 1 here, right mouse click and choose delete page. You'll have to confirm this. There we go. And we're back now to our first page, window sign, and we're going to make a change to this beige rectangle in the center. So using what we just learned, let's click on it and then click on it again to see those rotation handles. We'll keep our rotation center point at the center, and we'll click and drag from the top left corner. I'm going to hold down my Control key here, and you can see it's constrained to 15-degree increments, and I'll let go when it appears to be on a 45. So that would be 3 clicks. I'll let go of my mouse button, and you can see now I've turned this on its side. I've got a diamond shape. I'm going to click on it again, and I'm going to size it down, but I want to size it down from the center. So I'm going to go to the top right-hand corner here, hold down my Shift key. So I'm going to hit Escape here. Hold down my Shift key. Didn't catch. There, it's catching this time. Until I've surrounded just the daily special items down below. I'm not too worried about encompassing the actual title, Daily Special. So right there is pretty good. I want to make sure I'm inside my borders and let go. And you can see that's a totally different look for my daily specials. So I click outside to see the end result. Very nice. Might have to do a little bit of altering with my title so it shows up better, but that's stuff we'll talk about in the upcoming lessons. So rotating and skewing, very handy. You notice when I was holding down my control key and rotating, it was in 15-degree increments. If you're wondering why 15 and can you change that, well, absolutely you can. Just by going up to Tools on the Tools menu, selecting Options. All your Corel Draw options appear here somewhere. We're going to go to our workspace, click the plus sign, and then click on Edit, the third one down. There's our constrain angle, so anytime we hold down Control to constrain something, it's going to be using that 15-degree increment. If you prefer to have maybe 18, you can change that to whatever you want. You can also use your up and down arrows. Once you've got it set to what you want, clicking OK will save those changes. I'm leaving mine at 15. There we go. So that's rotating and skewing. Not very difficult, but really changes the look and the feel of your objects. And if they're combined with other objects, such as our daily specials window sign here, you really start to see the difference. Next, we're going to talk about arranging objects on your page. There are some helpful tips for getting things lined up and centered and exactly where you need them to be. We'll cover all of that in the next lesson.